Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mickeal. So before I get into the video, I just want to thank you guys for the support. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, and like, I don't know, that just made me kind of happy. It was like, oh, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. And you know, my channel is just organically growing, and you know, my views, you know, they're all over the place, but I'm always appreciative. Like if my video get 2 views, if my video get 30 views, if it get 1,000, you know, I'm always appreciative for the support. And it's just like, if one person see my video, I'm just happy, because I value like quality over quantity, right? I like things to just organically grow. So yeah, I'm just happy for that, and I just want to say that, and I just want to thank everybody for their support. And you know, I've been thinking about doing a giveaway once I reach 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna probably do a giveaway. I'm thinking about how I want to do that. And also I'm thinking about, I'm gonna do a Q&A. So I'm gonna do a Q&A video, so you can just ask me anything, and it's just gonna be a video of me answering questions. So I do have a link in the description of my video, and all you gotta do is click on the link. The password I also left in the description of the video. The password is Mickeal with a capital M. So just type the password in and just ask me anything, preferably, you know, spiritual questions, right? And I'll answer them. But yeah, let's just get back into the video. Still trying to be consistent, y'all. Still trying to be consistent. I did upload a video last week because it was 4th of July weekend and I was a little busy. But yeah, I'm actually been also wanting to upload more. So like maybe in a couple of months I'll start doing 2 videos a week. But that's just something I want to change to. I want to not only be consistent but upload more content. So we'll see what the future brings, right? But yeah, let's just get back to the video, y'all. So today I wanted to talk about birds, and I just want to talk about 4 common type of birds that, you know, you might see along your journey, and just what it means. So if you didn't know, birds are basically messengers. They are messengers, and when your energy is in a certain type of place, your spirit team will use birds to send messages to you. So whatever a bird symbolizes is basically the message that your spirit team has for you. And spirit communication is one of those things that's very important in a spiritual journey, because the spirits that are around you are there to help guide, help support, help protect. You know, they have so many different reasons for being around you, but I think the main thing of it all is to just better help guide you. And for that to happen, they have to be able to communicate with you. They have to be able to get certain things across. And depending on what it is that you actually practice, you know, you may have to heavily be communicating with the spirits around you. Like for instance, what I practice, it requires me to be able to heavily communicate with the spirits around me. So there has to be some type of way that we're communicating, right? And that's kind of the good thing about nature, y'all, is like you don't need an insane amount of awareness to be able to communicate with spirit through it, if that makes sense, right? And I say that because a lot of the times when you think of like spirit communication, you may think of like, oh, you know, using your psychic abilities to be able to communicate with spirit. And while though you know, your psychic abilities help with that amongst like a whole bunch of other stuff, that's not always going to be the case for you, depending on who you are and where you're at in your journey. That's not always going to be the case for you in the beginning, if that makes sense, or just where you're at spiritually. It's not always the case, because sometimes, you know, people, they incarnate into a life, and they incarnate into a life where they bring a lot more awareness into that life versus another person. And then you have some people where they grow into their abilities, right? Maybe they came in with a certain amount of awareness, and then life just happened where they experienced different things that brought anxiety, that brought fear, and now their abilities are restricted. Or they had a certain amount of awareness, and then they got into just different vices that kind of made them be more restricted. Like, just different things can make your abilities be restricted, right? And so some people, they just have more of awareness, and then some people grow into their awareness. Like, everybody's case is different. So that is why I say that with nature, the good thing about nature is that you don't have to have such large amount of awareness to be able to get communication through it. And I think that's why it's good to understand nature, because no matter where you're at in your journey, whether you just beginning or where you're further along, nature is one of those things where it's always going to be a way of spirit communicating with you through it. And that's why we're on the topic of more so birds in nature. And as I'm going through the different birds, y'all, I am basically going to give a general meaning. So kind of like how I said back in my video when I explained about angel numbers, that things, they have a general meaning, but it's always going to be unique to you, right? Your spirit team is always going to make the message that they have for you unique to you. So while something can have a general meaning, two people can look at it differently. It can mean differently for different people. That is why documentation in your spiritual journey is also another good thing that's very important. I document everything. I have different journals for different things when it comes to my life and my spiritual journey, because I think it's very important. So you should have a journal that documents your spiritual experiences. And you know, you can have just a different journal for different things. So like when you are out and about and you have this feeling that just comes over you when you see a bird comes your way, you know, you can write down in your journal, like, you know what, today I seen this bird. This is what this bird means. This is how I emotionally feel in life right now. This is what's going on in my life right now. And a lot of the times when you just see all of that together, it clicks for you. The meaning of it clicks. But then sometimes it doesn't, right? Like sometimes it doesn't click because you don't know how to apply it to your life. Like even though you know what this bird means, you know this is what you got going on in life, you know this is how you feel, you don't know how it clicks for you. That's why documentation is important, because say a couple weeks pass by or a couple months pass by and you see this same bird, and you know what, you go in your journal, you write everything down again, and then it's just going to be something that clicks, like, oh wait, you know, every time I'm going through this bird comes around. So this is what this means for me when my spirit team is sending me messages, right? That is why documentation is important, because you can kind of go back, you know, with things that happen in your life to kind of understand what certain things mean. And that's a good way of also kind of just understanding what spirit is trying to communicate, because sometimes you do get certain messages dealing with certain things and you may not understand it initially, but it's not until you see it more and more that you kind of put the puzzles together and know what spirit is trying to say to you. So the first bird, and I'm gonna try to put a little picture right there so y'all can kind of see. You might have recognized this bird before, right? I'm trying to put pictures through, right? So the first bird is the red cardinal. And when you see this bird, what it means generally is it's kind of like your spirit team is trying to get your attention to let you know that they're there. They kind of want you to know, like, they're there. That's what that means, right? And when you think of the color of the bird, right? Red, excuse me, red also symbolizes the root chakra. Like, the root chakra is known for the color red. And so the root chakra kind of deals with you, like, being grounded, being protected, not being anxious about anything. So sometimes when you see that bird, you know, you may be in a place in your life where you could be anxious about something. You could be worried about something, fearful. Your nervous system may not be regulated. And sometimes, you know, you may feel alone, you know, whatever it is, right? And then sometimes that bird will come around you, and that just shows you that your spirit team, whether that be your ancestors or someone that has passed on. They just want you to know, like, you're not alone. They're there for you, and everything's gonna be okay, basically. They want you to, you know, find some type of balance. Like, sometimes even seeing that can give you some sort of balance, a feeling of feeling more balanced, right? It kind of helps regulate your nervous system. So seeing that bird is basically them wanting them to let you know that they're there. And it doesn't always have to be too that you're in some type of space in your life where it's just very stagnant. It doesn't have to be that. You know, you could be very well be like happy and content in life, but they just want you to know that they're there, so they'll send that bird. So the next bird is the blue jay. Blue jays are very vocal. Like, they talk a lot, and blue jays, they represent like self-expression, communication, obviously, and, you know, just having boundaries for oneself. And back to the color, you know, blue jays are blue, and our throat chakra is represented by the color blue. So, you know, the throat chakra deals with like communication and just being able to express yourself through communication, right? So sometimes when you have a blue jay come around you, that may mean that your throat chakra is blocked. So that means you're having a hard time communicating certain things in your life or getting certain things across. And it kind of just encourages you to be able to better communicate, you know? So maybe you're not communicating enough and saying what it is that you need to say for your own good, or maybe you're overly communicating, you know, because that can also be the case. You're oversharing, you're sharing too much. It could also be you simply not being able to express yourself clearly. It could be you also not living in your truth, right? Again, with self-expression, just not living in your truth, and also not having boundaries, like actually standing up for yourself, taking up for yourself. So that's the kind of message that happens when you see a blue jay, right? That's the general meaning of it. So I am editing this video, and I just want to apologize, right? Before I say what this next bird is, just know I pronounced it wrong. It's pronounced dove. And the reason that I pronounced it wrong is because I just did. I was in flow state talking, and I forgot that I need to actually pronunciate my words correctly. I was in flow state. And the only reason I know that I pronounced it wrong is because somebody I know would always get on to me about pronouncing this word wrong. And that's why, like, when I was editing my video, I was like, oh my gosh, it just hit me that I said this word wrong. But yeah, that's all I had to say. The next bird that I'm going to be talking about is dove and mourning dove, right? They kind of overlap in a sense, a little bit. You know, the mourning dove, it does have a little uniqueness to it, but for the most part, they kind of mean the same thing. So, you know, a dove in general, it kind of represents like rebirth and hope and peace. So it's like when you see a regular dove, right, it's an indicator that new energy is coming in, right? New type of energy. So if you've been in a certain place emotionally, your emotions is about to change for the better. It's also an indicator that your heart chakra is kind of finally open up. You're more open to new opportunities now that your heart chakra is open. And it also could mean that you need to be in a place of healing. So maybe it's time for you to heal. And then when you see a mourning dove, you know, in the name is literally have mourning. So a lot of the times when you see a mourning dove, usually you're in a state of like sadness or not really feeling happy in life. Maybe you're not able to let something go. So when you see that bird come around you, it just kind of give you the encouragement to, you know, hey, it's time to kind of move through your emotions, because maybe you're in life right now where you're having a hard time doing that. You're not really happy, or maybe you're holding on to a situation, or you're holding on to something that you're having a hard time letting go. You're not able to emotionally walk away from whatever. And then it just also kind of give you like a sense of things are going to get better, like better days are going to come. So don't be so down and out, right? It's really a bird that just gives you that encouragement. So when you see a mourning dove, you know, in a sense, it's very similar to the regular dove, right? But a lot of the times when you see that mourning, it's more so because you're just in a really sad place, or you're just emotionally unable to walk away from something. So the next bird that I'm going to be talking about, I'm actually going to be talking about two birds because they overlap again. The raven and the crow, they do overlap in their meaning. So whenever you see these two different birds, just know that they symbolize like the shadow parts of ourselves, things like the darker parts of things, the hidden things. It also symbolizes death. It also symbolizes transitions in life, right? Things transitioning in your life. So the message that they pretty much bring is like they're giving you a warning or like a heads up, I would say, that something in your life is about to change significantly. Like you're gonna be going through some type of transition where something is about to end, and it kind of emotionally prepares you that you're just kind of like, oh, when something actually does end, it's like, regardless of how you feel, it's like you kind of were able to prepare yourself a little bit, you know, because something is about to end in your life where it shifts basically your stability, right? And stability doesn't always mean money, y'all. Stability does not always mean money, but it could be. Like you could definitely see that bird before you end up losing a job or something. But it shifts your stability in some type of way. Like you have some type of tower moment, right? And it just gives you a warning and a heads up, like, hey, you know, this is about to happen. And then the whole thing with death, right? Death could mean that too, because death is also the act of like something transitioning, like energy transitioning. But death could also be literal, right? So sometimes when you see this bird, sometimes it's just like a heads up, like, hey, someone that you know may pass away, right? There may be death coming near in your life regarding someone that you may know. And another message that it also do bring to is like you may find yourself in a situation soon that has like dark energy around it. Or maybe like some people may see it even as bad luck or being in a bad situation, which actually makes me think of my mom, because I think I mentioned it in a couple videos back. Like my mom, she grew up in a rural area. Where I grew up too, it was small too. Like it was, you know, but hers was even, the town she grew up in was even smaller. Like I'm talking houses miles apart and stuff like that. So she was around nature a lot. She knew about a lot of different things in nature, and she connected with nature a lot. And I just remember like growing up and being in the car, and you know, we would see one of these birds, and she would tell me, when you see this type of bird, this is what you do to reverse the negative energy. So she would literally do what she did towards the bird, and she would tell me that, you know, the negative energy, you know, the bad luck or whatever is reversed. That's what that meant to her. And I didn't discount it, you know, I didn't discount what she was saying. I just kind of observed and listened, because obviously it takes you going through, you know, spiritual experiences to really understand it. But that's what it meant to her. And I didn't discount it because I knew that she knew a lot about like nature and stuff. I remember, excuse me. I remember when I was small and we would be like driving in the car, and it would be like really bad weather sometimes. Like I'm talking to the point where like you can't really see through the window. Like it's just so bad, it's storming. And she would say this prayer where literally at the end of the prayer, y'all, the weather would change instantly. Like right at the end of the prayer, the weather would change. Like it just gave me chills, and it was kind of spooky but like spooky in a good way. But that's why I knew she knew what she was talking about when it came to stuff like that with the birds and stuff, because of the things the spiritual experiences that I experienced with her. So that was just her spiritual experience of these type of birds and what it means. But as I got older and I went through, you know, more things in life and had my own experiences, right? I had a different personalized message when it came to these type of birds, right? So for me, whenever I see these type of birds, I always know that something in my life is about to end. Something in my life is about to end. Something's going to be pulled from within under me, right? It's just always that way. And so that is what I mean when I said earlier, two people can have a general meaning of something, but it means differently to you two, right? Like for her, it meant, oh, bad luck, you know. But for me, it literally means like something ending. And I'm not gonna lie, you know, there are a couple times, depending on the scenario, where it was a different meaning. With me being a seer, like when I've seen death, I've seen these birds like in the vision or whatever. When I've seen that come in, there's also been another instance where before I went somewhere, before I ended up being in a situation where it was just really weird and dark, something ended up happening. Thank God I got through it, but you know what I'm saying? That's just, it's like very far in between to where it can mean something else, and intuitively I usually know when it means something else. But for the most part, when I see those birds, I know like something is about to end in my life that's definitely going to mess with my stability in some way. So I'm glad I shared that example when it came to my mind, because it allowed me to show y'all that two people can have the same type of bird or whatever come to them, and it means different for them, right? And again, those are just 4 common birds, you guys. Obviously, if you're out in nature and you see a bird come towards you, you can always like take a picture if you don't know what that bird is, and literally go on the internet, upload the pictures to see what this bird is. Like, there's so much technology out here, y'all. I literally sometimes be taking pictures of like different spiders. I'm like, can this spider kill me? Or plants and stuff to see the name of it. Like, there's just so much technology. Like, even if you don't know what bird it is that you're seeing, you can look it up, Google it, do your research on what this bird typically means spiritually wise, and see how it applies to your life. So again, just doing your research, documenting your life, documenting what you see is definitely going to help you better understand bird meanings and what it means when your spirit team is communicating with you. And I think I mentioned it earlier, it's all about, as soon as you have like that desire to want to understand things more spiritually, it's a shift that happens that allows you to just be on that frequency where when you're out in nature, things will come to you that you can be able to understand. And it's all about just kind of looking inward too, not being so much in the world, and actually taking the time to observe what it is that you're seeing around you. And you'll realize, like, the more you pay attention to where you're at when you're outside and in nature, the more messages that you'll see come your way, and that's how your spirit team will communicate with you. And also, like, outside of that, take time to meditate and stuff and clear your mind, or whatever you do to kind of just have more mindfulness, because when you do things like that, it also allows you, when you're out and about, to just be more observant. When you go out too, it allows for that to happen, which allows you to get the messages you see because you're more observant. So yeah, like I said, you don't need a crazy amount of awareness, and so, like, as you're kind of getting your psychic abilities to where they need to be, so where you can communicate with your spirit team, this is gonna definitely be this, and angel numbers, you know, things in nature and angel numbers are definitely gonna be some of the easiest ways to be able to do that, because it's like once you get once you have that shift within you, it's just like when you're outside, a tree is more than just a tree. A bird, you know, is more than just a bird. A fly could be around you, or a gnat, and it's like it's gonna have a different meaning for you. You know what I'm saying? And I know, like, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, you may have thought like, oh, this is so silly, like it's literally just a bird or just that. And that's not wrong either. Like, I feel like people spiritual understanding of things is based off of their own experiences. So people can have different experiences and still be correct. Like, somebody could think that a bird has no meaning at all, and they're correct because that is their spiritual experience. But then people can, you know, have their own experiences in life, and they come to their own understanding of what a bird means, and they're also right. So it's just like, when it comes to spirituality and things like that, nobody's wrong. You know, you only, what's right is what's your understanding, right? But yeah, that is pretty much it, you guys. Thank you so much again for watching my video. Don't forget about the Q&A. If you have any questions, click on the link below and put in the password. The password is in the description too. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it. Again, thank you guys for your support. We're almost at 1,000, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, that is it for now, y'all.